Hi, Dale coming to you from my temporary garage again, and in this video I'm going to show you how I, with no measuring, no marking, use this to make this, and this, and this, and this, and this too. They come out perfect every time. Easy peasy. Perfect 3-finger box joints every time. No measuring, no marking. Let me show you how I do it. Come on, let's go. You're gonna need to make yourself one of these. And I'll bet you're wondering, how did I make mine? The first thing you're going to need to do is go to your scrap bucket and just dump it out. And now find the special jig. Nope, nope, nope. This will work just fine. Really, all you're going to need is just an ordinary stop block. Well, you'll also need a spacer that's the same width of your blade. I have a standard 1/8 inch blade, so I can use either a 1/8 inch drill bit, I can use a 1/8 inch spacer, or for me, I went ahead and created several of these 1/8 inch, actually it's exactly a Kerf spacer. I also highly recommend that you get yourself a piece of scrap plywood or anything flat so that you can use as a new back. That's going to give you a really clean zero cut kerf and you'll have no tear out. If you don't do this, you're probably going to get a lot of tear out you're going to need to clean up. Simply clamp it onto your sled. My blade is actually just a hair thicker than 1/8 of an inch, but I can still use the 1/8 inch drill bit as well as the spacer. And I'm going to show you those as well, but first, I'm going to just use the kerf that I created. The first thing I like to do is actually mark the pieces that are going to be hogged out with the blade. And again, no measuring. I'm just going to mark it so they remind me that I'm going to be taking off the middle on this one. And on this piece, I'm going to be taking off the outside edges. Just mark it just so I remember which side to cut off. The next thing I need to do is take my stop block, set it up against it, set my piece of wood up, and notice I don't even have the blade out. So I'm not marking it against anything other than this kerf, which isn't exactly to the blade anymore since I've used this so many times. All I want to do is move it over to what I think looks good. I think that's probably going to look good, so that's where I'm going to have my fingers. Then simply clamp down the stop block and we're done. We're ready to start cutting. Next thing we want to do is raise the blade just like we normally would to the point to where it's just barely sticking over at its highest point the edge, just a little bit higher. And that is just barely poking over. I can just kind of hook my fingernail on it.
This really could not be any easier. Put the stock against the stop block and make a cut. Then simply rotate it around and make the same cut on the other side of your board, and that puts all the precision in place.
Now that I have the initial cuts made for the middle portion, I can set that aside and I'm going to now set up the initial cuts on both sides for the pieces where I am going to cut out the edges. Now to do that, we need to move it over one blade kerf length. So what you do is you put the kerf spacer in there and then you put this up against it. You're going to make that initial cut. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to rotate it around, get it up against the spacer again, and make the cut. So let's go ahead and do that. Now that I have initial cuts made on both boards, I can set those aside. I don't even need the stop block anymore, so we're just going to take it off. Now I just need to run it over the blade several times, moving it an eighth of an inch each time, and I'm going to cut out this interior piece on this one and the outside pieces on this board, and that's all there is to it. Let's do it now. It's really just as easy as that. No measuring, no marking, and they fit together perfectly. So you say you haven't made yourself a spacer the exact same size of your blade kerf? No problem. I'm now going to do another one using a 1/8 inch drill bit and a 1/8 inch spacer. And I'm going to use a couple more pieces of scrap wood. I'll show you that it's not a problem.
Just like before, I do rough mark which sections will be cut out. This is just so that I don't make any mistakes and cut out the wrong portion. It isn't at all marking or measuring the exact placement of the cuts. Again, like before, just move the stop block to what you think looks good. I couldn't find my tape measure even if I wanted to use it. There's no need for any measuring with this technique. For this example, I decided to have large outer fingers and a small middle finger. We don't need a highly visible middle finger for anything anyways, right? And again, a very nice and snug fit. Now I'm showing you that you can do the same thing with a drill bit, and this time I'm making the joint have a nice, large, and highly visible middle finger for those times you just want to make a statement.
So there you go, the easiest way to do no measure, no marking. Set to any spacing, 3-finger box joint there is. Hey, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you think I earned it, go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss any of my other videos coming out soon. And if you really want to help out my channel, you can go ahead and share it because you may know someone else that could get some value out of this. Until next time, see ya.